Welcome to Maddow Cum Laude, the GED graduation of Northampton City Council President, Billy. What's with all this GED cum laude stuff? Who is this 50-something-year-old, Hagrid-sized guy who looks like the brawny paper towel man with a pre-talkie era evil villain in a film mustache, who's never really had a real job for any length of time, and never graduated high school, and insists upon wearing flannel and suspenders all the time, but is the city council president of one of the greatest little cities on the planet, Northampton. And it's somebody you just want to talk about all the time. And why is he getting his GED now? And why is MSNBC superstar Rachel Maddow the keynote speaker? All for just this one guy. Sounds like a freaky dream. Fast forward nearly a decade, Rachel is America's leading progressive voice. An Emmy winner, a New York Times best-selling author, and is hands down the smartest person on television. And Bill Dwight, 10 years later, is still futzing around Northampton doing one thing or another. He kind of works for the Media Education Foundation or something. He's still a counselor. Who even knows? Still wearing flannel most days. But now, Bill Dwight is getting his GED. And he got it with the help of the Literacy Project.
The real heroes today are the 500 men and women who come through the doors of the Literacy Project every year. We have 5 classrooms, Amherst, Northampton, Greenfield, Orange, and Ware. We are a small, independent, nonprofit, local, just in Hampshire and Franklin County. And we serve folks who, for one reason or another, did not graduate high school, and they're here to get their GED, move on with their lives, and make a better life for themselves and for their families. But right here in the Valley of the Literate, 14% of adults over 25 do not have a high school diploma or GED. So that's 1 in 7 adults. And those folks are pretty much relegated to a life of poverty. US Census data tells us that a woman in Hampshire County without a high school diploma or a GED can only expect to earn on average $11,000 a year.
What I see is a warm, welcoming place where people get the resources and the time and the understanding that they need and the accountability that we all succeed with. And what I am asking you for is your time and your skill, because the Literacy Project needs you.
Culturally, I was granted the benefit of the doubt in almost every circumstance. Most folks assumed I had the degrees that a person of my position should have at my age. And it just never really came up, you know? So for me, taking the GED did not really carry the same significance that it did for the other really amazing people I tested with. Ayn Rand she was a fairy princess who believed in social Darwinism. She also knew privilege too. She held that all people start with the capacity to excel, and if society would just get out of the way, the most able would naturally percolate to the top, and society would benefit from their brilliant enterprise. The less capable, she believed, should be culled from the herd. And that's fine for an ant farm, I guess. It's a grotesque attitude for any culture that is comprised of beings who are afflicted with the capacity to care. Here's a tip. Don't hire a babysitter who shows up with a dog-eared copy of Atlas Shrugged. Your kids will resent you for the rest of their lives if they survive.
I believe that as humans, part of what we need to live is that we need to know and tell and hear stories about winning. I think that the idea of futility does not frustrate us. I think it idles us. I think it stalls us out. But once we see that something can be done, then we start to believe that something else could be done in the future too. If you're into American politics, then maybe nothing feels more intractable to you, more futile to you than the hope of us doing anything about climate change, for example. But if you don't actually just want an excuse for inaction, if you actually want to move forward, then one thing that might be helpful is relearning the story of, hey, whatever happened to that hole in the ozone layer? In politics, in problem solving, and in life. If you believe it cannot be done, then you are correct. It can't be done. As adults, as humans who have already done our growing up, the monster of futility, I think, lurks in the idea, in this sneaking sense that once we're grown, we are done. We are who we are. We were built as we grew, but now that we are grown, we are complete, and this is who we will ever be. But the monster of futility is slain by learning and telling the stories of those who prove that idea wrong. People who grow and then decide that they're going to grow some more. To make constructive, transformative change in your own life as an adult is a really, really brave thing. It does not happen on its own. You have to make it happen. You have to swim upstream to do it. It's hard and it's awesome. But it not only changes your life to do it, it changes all of our lives if we can see you do it. It changes all of our lives to see that you can. Seeing that you can makes us believe that maybe we could. I love the Literacy Project for keeping doors open for people who choose to walk through them later in life. And I salute all of our graduates from the Literacy Project here today for killing the myth that any of our fates are sealed. So happy graduation day, everybody. I encourage you to think about the idea of defying fatalism when you feel inspired by these folks, and always to choose your own adventure. Thanks.